Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Rants with Rage podcast. I'm your host, Man vs. Rage, and this is a show where we rant about video game related topics and news. So these are probably going to run for about like 30 minutes to an hour. We'll be doing them every Tuesday through Friday, and we'll start around like 9:30, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time over at twitch.tv/manversusrage. That's MANVERSUSRAGE. And if anybody would like to submit any questions about the topic, use !question followed by your question in the chat. So what we're going to be talking about today is what can make Destiny 2 better. And it's something that I've kind of went over in my head quite a bit, because it's a game that I've put fairly a lot of time in, like since Destiny 1. Like, I started off in the alpha. I've played both the betas for Destiny 2. I mean 1, not 2. Fucking played hours in Destiny 1. There's a lot of stuff by the end of Destiny 1 I think they did really right that they still have not implemented into Destiny 2, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So starting off the top, I have a few points that I want to go over, and the first of them is Crucible. I feel they have like undermined Crucible for way too long. Like way too long. There's a few things that I think that they need to change to make like the PvP side of this game better. Definitely is it's something that they said that the main thing for me that they said that they aren't going to do at all, which is separate PvP and PvE. So a lot of games do this, like Final Fantasy 14, I believe, does this. They separate the PvP gear and weapons and the PvE gear and weapons. And I'm sure that various other MMOs have done this as well. That's another thing, is I'm glad that they are accepting the MMO term now, because I feel like it can broaden the game like tenfold, by them just bringing in things from MMO RPGs into this game. Like, not completely turn it into one, because I don't think it'll ever fully work as one, but for them to bring aspects from MMORPGs into Destiny 2, I think would be a very good idea. Because I honestly see them supporting this game for a lot longer than they did Destiny 1, especially now that Activision is out of the picture. But that's the main thing in Crucible. I think they just really need to separate PvE gear and PvP gear. I don't know exactly how they would do that. Not per se that they need to make entirely new gear for PvP, but they do need to at least alter it a lot from PvE, because like you'll have a piece of PvE gear that it's perfectly normal with, like, you know, everybody likes it and stuff, and then in PvP it could just completely dominate, and then they have to nerf it, and then the PvE people lose out because now that piece of equipment is shit, because they decided they didn't want to separate the two. That's one thing that I think they should do. And the other point that I've came up with is I'm not a big fan of the way the playlists are structured, like competitive and casual. I just wish it was like it used to be. Like, I could understand them having competitive playlists and then switching game modes because it's competitive, but I feel like all of the casual playlists should be separated so people can play whatever they want to, and maybe have it like on a rotation like they did in Destiny 1. I feel like that would be a lot better than what they do now with it. I'm not a big fan of the way they just kind of stuff all the game modes into a playlist, and then you kind of just gotta hope you get what you're looking for. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the structure of the playlist setup, and I really think they need to separate PvP. That's kind of my thing with Crucible. Going on to strikes. So, strikes, there's not a big difference. There's a lot of things in Destiny 2 I like that they do better. Like, they have, like, mechanics in some strikes. And, you know, not everything is just always, like, bullet. Like, you're just shooting them constantly. It's not just complete bullet sponges. They actually have mechanics. Because they did that in some strikes in Destiny 1, 2 later on. The main thing that I think that's missing from this, which they kind of have it in the Nightfall, like with strike-specific loot, but they definitely need to put like multiple pieces of strike-specific loot at the end, of these strikes to keep people playing. Like, you put random rolls and specific gear in strikes, people are going to go in and play it because they might want this certain piece of armor and a certain roll on it, and then bam. But see, they're not really going to be doing the whole random rolls thing anymore, I guess. So maybe strike specific mods. What about that? If they put, you can't get this mod unless you complete this certain strike and get it from this strike. Man, that would be fucking cool. That would give people, that would tenfold people probably playing the strike playlist, going in there trying to get these cool mods from a specific strike. I think that would be really cool. But you could still put specific armor and stuff in there too, because I believe the way armor is going to work is you have to get your, I can't remember the new 3 stats. Well, they're not new. They come from the Destiny 1 system, but they're adding on to the Destiny 2 armor. I believe you get random rolls from that too when you pick up armor. So maybe you could grind for those and strike specific mods. And I think that would be cool if they added that into the game. So that's really all I have to say about strikes. I think I enjoy the strikes. I really do wish they would make more. I wish, like, in between seasons, they would put out 1 to 2 strikes and 1 to 2 Crucible maps for free. I feel like that's something that other MMORPGs do. And then again, they are just now, like, you know, taking this MMORPG and saying that that's actually what this game is. Well, an MMO, not an MMORPG. Because I think that they really should ramp up the RPG elements in it too. But I feel like they should add a few more free things in. I don't think people would get as mad sometimes at certain things if they did that. Because I feel like they did this in Destiny 1. Like, there was a few times in between where we got, like, free strikes and free Crucible maps. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm not sure, but I feel like there were times when that happened. So, moving on from strikes, I'd like to touch on raids. Now, something I definitely want to see from raids is these mods. Like, you know, like whenever back in the day when you're playing Vault of Glass and you get like a weapon or a piece of armor from Vault of Glass, it had a specific like perk on there per se that helped you in that raid. So if they put like raid specific mods, maybe they could do it with strikes too. Like Maybe it's something that can help you in strikes or something. But in raids, like say you're running like you know that one perk where you do like extra solar damage or whatever on the Leviathan. Maybe that could be like a Leviathan raid mod or something like that. Like stuff like that I think is awesome. Whenever you get into the element of actually being able to build your character, you could build this armor to be for this raid, and build this armor to be for this raid, and build this armor to be for your PvP, build this armor to be for your strikes. By using the mods that you collect from these different things in the game, I think that if they can pull something like that off as far as building your character, which we'll find out in a couple of days because I believe they're doing a live stream on how the new mods are going to work. But I believe if they could pull that off, it'd be pretty awesome. People would definitely be a lot more involved, I think, with these activities. Because as far as I'm concerned, like, I haven't touched Destiny 2 like hardcore since Forsaken came out, and I grinded that out. Black Armory came out. I played it for a little bit. It was okay. I wasn't feeling it that much. What was the next one? Joker's Wild, was it? Something like that. I'm not that big of a fan of Gambit, so it just was like, nah. Season of Opulence is pretty cool, but like, it's just not enough to pull me back in. Like, I feel like there's a lot more they could do with the game, and I feel like they are trying to. Like me and a guy on Suicide, one of my frequents in my channel, good friend, we're talking earlier, and he doesn't even really like Destiny, but he stated New Light is going to be a big thing. Like, the free-to-play version of Destiny is going to be a big thing, and it is. It's going to pull like tons of people in, and it's going to be great to have like a new player base. And hopefully Shadowkeep is just amazing, and hopefully a lot of these things, well, some of these things I'm going to talk about aren't going to be put in because it's already been announced, or may never be put in, like the PvP and PvE being split up. But I think it's gonna bring a new light to the game, no pun intended, because a lot of people are going to be like, it's free, hell yeah, I'll check it out, you know? But getting back to raids, I definitely think they need to do some type of raid mods. Would be an amazing idea. Also, something I want to talk about it is like lengths, like the length of a raid. Because there are some raids that I completely like, and some raids that the length of the raid kinda got to me, you know? I'd say Wrath of the Machine was definitely one of them. Really good raid, but I don't know, I only ever beat it once, and I tried that raid a lot of times. Maybe it was just the people I was playing with, but I had a hard time every time I tried to go into that raid, man. Vault and King's Fall will always be my favorites. They both were excellent raids to me. I was not a big fan of Crota's Inn. Leviathan, just kind of, to me, all the raids that I've played, because I have not played all of them, are just like too long. They seem too long to me, in my personal opinion. That's my opinion, you know. Everyone has their own. I'm just speaking how I feel about it. I feel like the raids in Destiny 2, from the ones I've played, are too long. Like, the newer one that came out in Season of Opulence doesn't look that long. I haven't even seen Scourge of the Pass, so I can't really speak on that one, but I really thought Leviathan and I can't remember the one with Forsaken for some fucking reason. It was The Last Wish. Were too long, man. In my opinion, I think the raids need to be shortened a little bit. But that's my take on it. Everybody has theirs. I have mine. Another thing I'd like to see is like MMO style roles. Now I know they can't go full on Titan tank, Warlock healer, Hunter DPS, just because of the way the game is structured and being a first person shooter. But I would like to see like maybe more skills get brung in to make the Warlock more of a healer. Maybe you could have a skill that you could pop on a Warlock where you could like do some healing. I mean, you already have it within the Healing Rift and Well of Radiance, but like maybe even expand it even more to where like I don't know, like I know you have grenades that can heal people, but maybe like you can have multiple grenades that do no damage whatsoever, but you know, maybe they recharge a little bit faster, but you could just throw them out and they track your allies to heal them. Or maybe you have a tank skill that he can like pop, which gives him like you know, a shit ton of overshield or something like that, to make it more MMO based or some things of that nature. I would like to see that in the game. I don't know how good it would work in PvP, which is another reason why I think they need to split PvP and PvE up, because they could do more cool stuff like that on the PvE side if the PvP was like a separate thing. But I would like to see things like that and more fleshed out skill trees as well. I think that's one thing they did from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 that definitely took away from the depth of it, was just taking out the big skill tree that you had in Destiny 1. Not to say that it did a whole lot, but it was a lot cooler to have those things, you know, than to not have them. I would really like to see subclasses along with classes become a lot more fleshed out going on. I think that would be a really good idea and something that they need to look at, which I believe they have said something about looking into expanding like skill trees and stuff. I know it's not coming with Shadowkeep from what they said, but I'd really like to see it fleshed out. As far as but yeah, like I was saying, they can't really go too in depth with an MMO aspect because of the type of game it is, and I understand that. I never expect it to be like a fucking Neverwinter or WoW or Final Fantasy 14 or anything like that. But I would like for them to pull a lot more aspects from those things, especially because they are delving more into the MMO aspects of things, I guess you would say. So as I was talking about, I really think they should bring in more MMO aspects or roles into the classes and subclasses. But moving on from that, my biggest problem with the game right now is the leveling system. I'm not a fan of it at all. Like, as far as the get armor to level up, and the kind of the structure it is, like get better armor with better a better stat number. That's fine. When I say I don't like the leveling system, pretty much what I'm talking about is as how you run a strike and then run 3 strikes and you get powerful gear. I guess the whole powerful gear system is what irritates me. Cause me myself, I'm more of a fan of like how they did it in the beginning of Destiny 1, and I wish they could expand on that. Like with Vault of Glass, you had to actually go into Vault of Glass, and that was the only way to level up past a certain point and hit the highest number that you could, the highest level you could, or power, or light, whichever you would like to call it. I feel like ways they could do this better is maybe you could do these things in the beginning, like run a strike, run 3 strikes, do a crucible match, do 3 crucible matches. I know they try to do that to cater more to a casual player, but I feel like I hate to sound like a dick or an elitist Destiny person, but I feel like hardcore player should feel more accomplished than a casual player. Someone that's gonna play the game hours on end should feel more accomplished than somebody that can't put in as much time. And that's coming from a guy like me who can't put in as much time any more than I used to be able to. I feel like that's just how it should be. Like, and even as a casual player, I think you could still get to a certain level and run like, because the way I would like to see leveling happen is they definitely need to bring in some sort of trials aspect. Again, like game mode into it again for people that are within the PvP community. But as far as PvE, I feel like we should have it should be raids, and then I think there should be more dungeons, like a ton more dungeons. They really need to focus on the dungeon aspect, I believe, because Shattered Throne was amazing. From what I hear, 0 Hour is really good. I feel like they need to bring more things like that in the game. That should be your in-game activity, and then you can have like an in-game activity too, which is very difficult. But raids, dungeons, and maybe like a trials mode for your PvP, maybe something else for your PvP, and like maybe and an in-game activity should be the only ways you should be able to get gear each week. I don't like how you can just go run casual stuff and basically get to the highest level eventually. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it whatsoever. I think I think it downgrades the experience in a way, because you used to have to do these harder things to achieve the highest tier, and now it's just, you go in, you can run some strikes, and you can run some crucible, you can run some gambit, you can run one nightfall. Nightfall should always give you in-game stuff, but I feel like the nightfalls are, I don't know, they can be hard, but sometimes they can be a little too easy too. It's how I feel. Just going into the last thing I would love to see in this game, and that's world bosses. And I know they have like roaming world bosses, like they're fucking yellow bars out on the map, and they're easy as shit to kill though, man. I want like an actual fucking boss on each planet that spawns like on a timer. That's like the best thing I can describe it. And 2 is like Final Fantasy 14 has gigantic world bosses that spawn every like fucking 12 hours or some shit, man. And I think it would be awesome to have that where, you know, a group of people out in the world actually have to come together. They kind of have it in a way, if, now that I think about it, kind of with Escalation Protocol. Like, something like that. Like, how the bosses are on there, except for instead of it spawning in one, in that one location, they have like, instead of you having to go through waves, they make the boss harder and it spawns there every few hours, and they have one on every location, like every planet. Maybe even some of them like the EDZ where it's like fucking huge, you have maybe 2. I think something like that would be cool, and they could drop, you know, special weapons and armor, and drop special mods. But some things, I think they're really doing good with the whole the new mod system. I believe an armor system, I believe it's going to flesh the game out a lot. The new guns and stuff they showed off were pretty cool. Shadowkeep seems like it's gonna be good, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see. This is Bungie's first expansion, DLC, whatever you want to call it, without Activision, so it seems like with cross save is another big thing, man. To be able to just jump on the PC is gonna be great, dude. And play maybe with some people I would have never got to play with before. They're making a lot of steps though in the right direction. And I think Destiny 2 has a bright future if they pull this shit off, like how I think they could. But that's what I think they could do to make Destiny 2 better. If you're here live, we won't be stopping the stream, but if you enjoyed the podcast, you can support by following the channel, or if you're listening on another platform, by subscribing. This has been the Rants with Rage podcast. Remember to come hang out with us live every Tuesday through Friday around 10 a.m. Central Standard Time over at twitch.tv/manversusrage. As always, this is Man vs. Rage, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.